I want to talk about Jenna Malone's character
Oh,
because that spider character looks phenomenal. What went into the process of making that character, and how much was that done practically?
well, so you're killing me because that like kept me up at night for a long, long time. So when we talked about it, Fractured put a great practical effects on top of Jenna, and one of the first days I kind of pulled Jenna aside and I said, look, I know this is going to be weird. We're putting you in this rig. So we put this big circular rig. We had a bunch of stunt performers moving it around. And I said, I got to pin your hips to the rig. And I can't let you move them. And I'm going to come in every take and let you know that you've moved them. And so she was game. She was like, okay, I'm 100% in. And because of that, it allowed us to have this like dynamic movement and also interaction with Duna and with Jenna. And at one point we talked about doing it all digital. It just wouldn't have worked because there was this richness to their interaction and just the action choreography. And so when we got that all the way through in post, that was what kept me up at night because I was certain we could do it, but it was just tricky. There was a lot of choreo and movement within it that we had to then put our digital creature in. And when you're working in that big a space, you got to make sure that we have that space. And so one of the first times I saw the shot, I was like, oh my gosh. And so our supervisor, Bob Winter over at Frame Store, we both kind of had a moment where we're like, okay, this is going to work. It's great. And so the last couple days when I walked on set, I'd walk over to Jenna. I was actually trying to tell her thank you. And she goes, oh my gosh, did I move my hips again? I said, no, you're doing a fantastic job. Everything you've done is going to make this creature better in the end. And that's exactly what ended up.
My other favorite character in this was Jimmy. Talk to me about Jimmy and crafting that character.
So Jimmy was fun. One, because we got to have Anthony Hopkins voice a character, but Dustin was fantastic on set. And so one of the things we did early on was we recorded a scratch track with Anthony. We recorded a scratch track with Anthony Hopkins, and we took that and we brought it to Dustin. And I said, look, and Zach and I said, look, Zach's going to obviously give you direction, but I want you to think about Anthony's performance and what you hear in his voice, and I want your body to have that same movement. And so Dustin took it as a champ, and he went home and he studied it. And so when we got on set, he'd play those scratch tracks, and he was like, boom, right in it. My biggest fear was that he's going to have some movement that just didn't feel like Anthony's. And then, when we got into post, we looked at it, and I said, Dustin's performances are so rich and so beautiful, we don't really need to touch them. And there was a mandate that I put, is there was also a richness to the suit that, again, Fractured made. And I said, I don't want to touch that when we don't have to. I want to leave the chest plate. I want to leave the face. We'll do all the internals. And then we're gonna hit it with a little bit of subtlety, right? So there's inflections in his face plates when there's emotional moments. And that's where, when we developed that, and a little bit later in post, we were like, yep, that's our moment. That's what Jimmy is. And we're going to respect that. So it's been fantastic.
Now, this idea has been in Zach's head for over 20 years. Can you talk about helping build Zach worlds from the ground up?
Yeah, so with Zach, he's very visual, obviously, and he's good at communicating what he wants. And we kind of have a shorthand, so it's really great that we can explore it in pre-production, but also I kind of have an idea when I get into post what he's looking for. And it's just been great along the process because it's easy. There's a fluidity to it, and it's just an exciting time to work with somebody like that, and that has a clear vision, a clear direction, and we can take the energy we need to make the shots look great.